What's up, BookTube? Welcome back. My name is Laura if you're new here, and today I'm wrapping up my May reading month. So first of all, I am very sorry if I seem a little bit blah today. I got my COVID vaccine yesterday, which is very exciting, but also I feel like absolute shit. So I also can't really move my right arm, like, at all. It is agony to even do anything with it. So this might be a very kind of more subdued kind of video today. So sorry about that. But I've gotten my first dose of the vaccine, so I'm just beyond excited about that. Also sorry for the weird kind of lighting today. It's very overcast. It's going to storm today. So I have to have extra lights on and things are weird. But anyways, not important. In May, I read a total of 6 books, which is pretty good considering I didn't actually finish my first book until May 15th. So I read all of that in the last 2 weeks of the month. So you're pretty good. But that gave me a grand total of 1,548 pages, and I loved everything that I read this month. My lowest rating was a 4-star, so amazing. But let's just get right into it, starting with the first book that I read, which was Beyond the Gender Binary by Alok Vaid-Menon. This is a very short work of nonfiction about Alok and their experiences as a gender non-conforming person. It was very short, so it didn't get into too many details. I would love to read a longer piece from Alok. They're a fascinating person. If you don't know them, definitely go check them out. They are amazing. I'll leave their Instagram link down below, but they're just this absolute badass of a human, and I'm truly obsessed. So I was really happy to be able to read their book finally and be able to get to know them a bit more. So this one I gave 5 stars. I loved it. Very short review because again it was 65 pages or so I don't have too much to say about it, but it was very enjoyable and I'm so glad that I finally picked it up. The next book that I read was In Deeper Waters by F.T. Lukens. Oh my god. I loved this book. I read this one as part of my reading challenge that I'm doing with Roxanne over at Roxanne Can Read. I'll leave her channel link down below. But In Deeper Waters was described as Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtues meets Pirates of the Caribbean, and I would absolutely agree with that statement. This is a fairy tale type of fantasy where our main character is the prince of a kingdom by the sea, and he has this secret forbidden magic that nobody can know about, so he's been hidden away for most of his life. But for his 16th birthday, he sets out with his older brother on his coming of age tour across the kingdom, where he meets a mysterious but beautiful boy named Adalyn, and they have an instant connection. But things go horribly wrong when our main character, whose name I currently forget, so I'm very sorry, is kidnapped by pirates who want to find out if he actually has magic and use that to start a war. And then things go from there. There is a lot more to this story. There's magic, there's mermaids involved, there's a really interesting kind of magical history to this world. The lore is really cool. Just everything was so well done, and I really enjoyed this book. I loved it so much. It was so wholesome. I loved all the side characters. Everybody in this was just so well put together. The plot was amazing. The writing was fantastic. I loved the settings. Literally everything was just fantastic, and I just cannot recommend this book enough. And of course I gave it a glowing 5 stars. I did also post a full review on my channel a few weeks ago, so I will link that for you down below as well if you want to hear more thoughts about it. I've just been really loving all this queer fantasy that's been coming out lately. It just warms my heart that I can read these kinds of stories, and I just, it makes me so happy. After that, I read Cosmo Nights by Hannah Templar. This is a sci-fi graphic novel that takes place in a world, or I guess in a galaxy, where princesses are auctioned off in a fighting competition where people put on these giant robot suits and they fight, and whoever wins gets to win the princess. But our 2 main characters are a wonderful lesbian couple who have been working undercover as men for the last 10 years, entering these fighting rings to win the princesses and basically just set them free and let them go and live their own lives how they want to. And the main character of the story ends up joining them. I gave this one 4 stars. I loved the characters. The story was so much fun, and the art style though, oh man, it was breathtakingly beautiful. It was just so stunning and vivid and colorful. I have several new fictional crushes. It was great. This book was just a delight to read, and I cannot wait for the next one to come out. I'm not sure when that is. I think it's soon though, or I hope it's soon at least, because I would love to get my hands on it. But just overall, this was a fantastic read, and I definitely recommend it if you were in the mood for some queer sci-fi, which if you're watching this channel, you probably are, because that's what I talk about. After that, I read All the Tides of Fate by Adalyn Grace, which is the sequel to All the Stars and Teeth, which came out last year. This one I picked up on a whim because I was just in the mood for an audiobook, which is great though, because one of my goals for this year is to try and read more sequels and like finish series and duologies, and this book is the conclusion to that duology, so it worked out very nicely for me. Go me. I'm making progress on a goal. That really hurt. Oh my god, ow. I should not have tried to raise my arm there. Oh, that hurt. So in this world there are, I believe, 5 different kinds of magic, but you're only allowed to practice one kind, otherwise it'll throw off the balance of things and things will go poorly if you try and do 2. I'm not really sure why. It was explained why you can only do 1. I just have the memory of a goldfish, so I forget, to be honest. But there is one kind of magic that only the royal family can use, which is the kind that our main character, Amora, has. So she is about to take over the throne for her father, but first she has to do a kind of trial where she displays her magic for her people, and they decide if she's ready to take on the throne or not. But of course, things go very poorly, and she ends up being imprisoned, where she is saved by a pirate named Bastion, and the two have to work together to go and do something on an island elsewhere. This is the first book, which I am very hazy on. I read it sometime last year, and I, again, memory of goldfish. I do not quite remember the plot of this one, but book 2 takes place after the events of the first book, obviously, so I won't go over the synopsis for that one because it would be major spoilers, but that's kind of the gist of the world, at least. And I actually enjoyed book 2 a lot more than the first one. The first one was fun when I read it, but like upon reflection it wasn't that good. Book 2 though was still not great, but definitely better than book 1. The characters were a lot more interesting, and especially the world building. Oh my god. In book 2, the main character is going around a tour of the islands, so we get to actually see what the world looks like and like all the different kinds of cultures and everything that are involved on all these islands, and it was beautiful. I really enjoyed the world of this series, and I found that the characters were a lot more well developed. The main character becomes a lot more vulnerable and is more open about struggling with mental health, which I appreciated. The writing was better as well. It's like everything was just overall better. The one thing though, I'm not gonna spoil it, but the character at the end, if you've read it, you know what I mean. They did that character so goddamn dirty, and I will not get over it. I'm not over it. I will never get over it. This character deserved so much better. Oh my god, my heart hurts. It did get a big reaction. Like I was sobbing at the end of this book because of how dirty this character was done, which is great. You know, I love when books can get a big reaction out of me, even if it is absolute rage. But either way, it got a huge reaction for me, which I love when a book can do, so I'm not complaining about it, even though I wish desperately that it did not end like that. I liked the rest of the ending. It was very well done. It was just that one character's end of their storyline. God damn it. Why is it always my favorites? But anyways, 4 stars for All the Tides of Fate. And for the next 2 books, I recently made an account on NetGalley, and so I've started putting in requests for arcs. Didn't think much would come of it, but it did. I was pleasantly surprised. So my next 2 books are both arcs. The first one I read was Cheer Up, Love and Pompoms by Crystal Frasier. This was so sweet. Oh my god. This one is a graphic novel about a cheerleading squad, and it follows 2 main characters. The one character is Bibi, who is the first transgender cheerleader on the squad, and the other is Annie. She is a loner character. People have made fun of her a lot, and so she's become really mean. Annie and Bibi used to be really close, and then they drifted apart, but Annie is being forced by her mother to join a club of some kind, and she tells her to join the cheer squad. Nobody on the squad wants Annie there, but Bibi sticks up for her, and the two kind of re-spark their friendship as well as a budding romance as well. And the story is just about these two kind of getting to know each other again, falling back in love, and the two are just learning so much from each other. Annie is learning from Bibi how to be a nicer person, and Bibi is learning from Annie how to stand up for herself more and speak up when she wants to be heard. This was such a beautiful story. It made me cry. Tears of joy. I absolutely loved it. I wish that I had things like this when I was a teenager. So I think this book is going to be just like mind-blowingly wonderful for queer teens, and I can't wait for people to read it. It's so amazing. I loved every second of it. The art style was really cute. There's also a non-binary character, and we get to see this beautiful prom or homecoming, whatever it's called in America, full of queer characters who are not afraid to be who they are, and I just my heart. It was so good. So this one obviously got a 5 stars as well. And then the last book that I read, oh my god, Oh god, I got an arc of One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I've been raving about it, so like if you watch my channel, you already know how much I love this book. I think this is the third video in a row where I've talked about this book. This one is about a woman in her 20s who moves to New York with no ties to anybody. She knows nobody. She really has no family and no friends. And she moves in with this really quirky, weird cast of characters who end up becoming a lovely found family. And the main character, her name is August. She ends up developing a crush on this woman that she sees on the subway all the time named Jane, who is this like short-haired punk rock lesbian who turns out is actually stuck in a blip in time, and she's actually from the 1970s. She's been stuck on the subway train for over 40 years with no way to get off. So August and Jane start to work together to try and figure out how Jane could possibly be there, and of course they end up falling in love in the meantime, and I loved it. It was so good. This book was just fantastic. I really I don't think that I will ever get over this book. It went right to my favorite shelf. It was adorable. It was also really steamy as well. It had this beautiful found family, which I love. I wrote in my review that it is a celebration of what it means to be queer, and I stand by that. This book was just so good, and just a perfect book to kick off Pride Month as well, because Jane is from the 70s. It also talks a lot about the history of the LGBTQ plus movement, the AIDS crisis, everything that our people went through to get us to where we are today. And I found that was just such a beautiful thing to read about, especially during Pride Month when our history kind of gets forgotten amidst all the parties and celebrations, which I'm so happy that we have, but we also can't forget our history as well. And this book did a beautiful job of showing both the history and the struggle next to the beautiful joy that we have now being queer in the 21st century. I love this book so much. I highly recommend it, especially if you're queer. Like, you need to read this book. Just trust me, just do it. I can't say enough good things about it. So yeah, those are all the books that I read for the month of May. I am currently reading a couple of other things that I was trying to finish before June, but it's just not gonna happen. So those ones will be on my June wrap up, which I already have my TBR for, so I will leave that linked for you as well. But if you've read any of these books, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts and chat about them. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!